Hello everyone, I'm Molly, or Momac2 on GitHub, and I'm one of the IPFS project leads, and I'm here to give you a quick Q1 update and preview into Q2. All right, so first we're going to start with a little update on our 2019 roadmap so that we have context for the year, then updates from Q1, preview into Q2 milestones, and then a pointer into our working group OKRs so that folks can dive deeper there. So first, our roadmap. We PR'd this to GitHub back in December 2018 and have been keeping it updated over the past couple months. The big component of this is our 2019 priority, which is focusing really deeply on package managers and continuing to accelerate community growth. Package managers are a really strategic community for us. First, because it forces us to really deliver on a set of performance, reliability, scalability, usability items for a particular use case, which makes IPFS way more usable for a lot of other groups with similar needs for scaling on the DHT and performance and adding and finding content and all of those things. The second reason is that package manager communities are very tech savvy, both the creators and the users, and because of that are really able to run with ideas, help us improve prototypes, like engage with us closely as we work on meeting their needs, and also contribute back to our community in a really valuable way. We took that top level priority and broke it down into a series of epics, which really document the work that we're planning to take on for the next year. To break those down a little bit, the first item is production readiness of the Go and JS implementations, which is really focused on responding to all of the feedback we've been getting over the past number of quarters and making IPFS a lot more usable and a lot more performant and reliable. The method by which we get there to that production readiness is by focusing really closely on package managers and using that as a great test case to scale our solution and also iterate and drive quick feedback loops so that we get better measurably release over release. Part of that is making sure that IPFS has the scalability requirements that having lots of people hitting many mirrors and using large-scale package managers requires. And part of that is making sure that we have kind of the telemetry and info so that we can make sure that we're supporting these things really well. As many of you have probably heard, another big component of this is launching our IPFS camp, first ever open IPFS event, which is going to be held in Barcelona in June. And we have a lot of awesome content to put together there. And we're really looking forward to participating and engaging with the community, sharing a lot of knowledge, new ideas, just generally having a hell of a lot of fun. It's going to be great. Number 5, this really goes back to the goal of production readiness, which is doing all of this testing, benchmarking, performance in order to achieve that. We really need to be deep and realistic about all of the current status of things so that we can keep making it all a lot better. And finally, as we continue to grow and our community continues to grow, we have more support structures and more work in place to support that community as we scale and make sure that we're engaging our contributors really effectively. All right, so what actually did we do in Q1? Well, there were a lot of awesome accomplishments here. The first one being we finally took some time to dive a little bit deeper on IPFS project metrics. And a big component of this was really looking at our users' metrics of how many end users they're reaching, and looking at really just through public announcements from them, have found that there are so many apps using IPFS, and at the end of the day that we're reaching now over 5 million monthly active users across all of those different things, which huge kudos to the entire community. This is really your success more than it is ours, but really exciting to hear that there's so much engagement and enthusiasm, and something that we definitely want people's feedback and letting us know how we can support you in serving all of these humans. A big focus of this past quarter was performance and usability, so we'll dive into a lot of the releases that included features around that goal coming up next. We also booted a new package managers working group, which is really focused on researching needs and use cases and engaging with this community, and also doing a lot of demos and prototypes so that we can have a really fast feedback loop as we try and make performance improvements to demonstrate how that is actually performing in practice. And finally, we announced IPFS Camp, and we are in the midst of planning amazing things for you. Looking forward to it, creating a lot of new content that will hopefully help everyone level up. If you want to learn more about Q1, we also had an update on the blog recently, which kind of recapped some of the amazing things from Q1, including a lot of awesome other videos. So go watch some of those if you want to learn more. All right. I can hardly do all of these justice, but there were a ton of awesome releases in Q1, starting with the Go 0.4.19 release, which was a gigantic release. It included AutoNat and Relay to improve connectivity. It included file streaming for efficient large file handling. It included HTTP proxy, which is actually created by PeerGhost for exposing HTTP services to other peers. It had giant performance and reliability improvements to the DHT, BitSwap, PubSub, and Data Store. My goodness. And it had better browser integration with Base32 CIDs and some API improvements. So a chunk of stuff in there. Huge kudos to all the contributors. JS 34.0 also went out, which also included those Base32 CIDs, which is kind of a coordinated effort between JS and Go to support accessing IPFS in the browser. It also included tons of speedups for DAG nodes and for adding content to IPFS, which is now 1.5 times faster. Woot woot. And it had HAMP support for MFS, which supports one of the package manager demos we're working on, NPM on IPFS, which, all of you guys can go check out and let us know how we can make it even better. IPFS Desktop also had a release, 0.7.0, and that included drag and drop files to IPFS and handling of IPFS : / and similar paths. Companion also had two releases, actually, 2.7.0 and 2.7.3, which included the web UI for embedded JavaScript nodes. And Cluster had 0.10.0, which had a ton of awesome stuff, had CRDT consensus layer, had custom pin metadata, manual pin allocations, and a lot more. So huge kudos to the teams. There was a ton of stuff in here, made a lot of progress, and huge kudos to all of the people who contributed to this, whether it be design reviews, comments, bug reports, testing it out and helping us find bugs with the releases before we actually release them, all of that stuff. Thank you all so much for contributing and helping us get these things out the door. All right, so what's upcoming in Q2? We have a lot of cool stuff planned, but to stay pretty high level, our top 3 priorities are, 1, to really continue delivering performance, features, demos, and collaborations to drive package managers forward. This is kind of what we're starting with in April, what we've been working on for the past couple weeks, but also going to continue throughout the quarter. So it's not just a one and done thing. This continues to be a top thread for our core implementations. A second priority is really improving our ecosystem and growth through working closely with our contributors, making sure that we're doing user research, that we're collaborating closely with all of our partners in the community, and we're supporting new contributors and all users through things like documentation and things like that. This really does tie into our third priority, which is making sure IPFS Camp is awesome so that we can have a great time with all of you and that we can also build a thriving community around that. And so we have awesome, exciting work planned for that, for everyone who's going to get to be there. All right, finally, working group OKRs. This is our handy-dandy OKR sheet. We have a public one for every quarter. They link to each other. You can find this linked on GitHub in our team management repo, and this indexes in on all of our working groups and the OKRs that they're taking on for the quarter. And I'm not going to dive into this now because there's so much stuff in here that I wouldn't be able to do it justice. Instead, each of the working group captains can give you a more deep dive. Hopefully they'll shoot out little videos so that you can get an update and talk specifically about the work that they're taking on, why it's so important, and how you can get involved in helping make it awesome. Thank you all so much. It's been great chatting with you, and hopefully I will see you around on GitHub over the next couple of weeks. Cheers. Have a great Q2.